I know you and I are very, very passionate about budgeting. So what budgeting tips, Tommy, can you give to South African consumers out there who are wanting to buy a house?
Yeah, so Mashfika, for me, the budget is at the center of it all. And it's about understanding your own income and expenses. If we start on the income side first, one needs to take a good historical look at what your income has been. So some people earn a bit of variable income where you might earn commission. One month you might have really good earnings, another month it might actually be quite low. But remember, so if one looks at the income side, if you had to commit to a mortgage repayment of say 9,000 Rand, you have to pay that amount every single month. So it's important that one doesn't just average out your incomes. You actually need to be as disciplined as either looking at the lowest income that you've earned and almost base your affordability or your budget on that, or the months where you earn higher income, save that and put it away for the months where you're perhaps a little bit short. So on the income side, really important to understand whether your income is fixed and predictable and dependable, that kind of thing. And if you could supplement your income with some additional forms of income like a second job, that obviously would help as well. On the expense side, there's many budgeting tools out there that you can utilize. And I think there's also room for improvement for us as a financial services industry to make those budgeting tools even better. So you would see a few prompts to say, let's think deeply about all the expenses I have. And there's a few ones that people typically forget. So, go and list them all. It's a bit of hard work, but, list all of your financial commitments and the repayments on them. List your cell phone accounts, DSTV accounts if you have them. It's a nice structured mechanism to actually evaluate all of your expenses.
I ever think that the biggest obstacle when it comes to budgeting is the person's inability to be completely honest with themselves about how much they are actually spending, what their expenses actually are. Because it doesn't help that we have all the budgeting tools available to us, but when it says entertainment, we put down 200 Rand when we actually know it's not 200 Rand.
Absolutely. So the budgeting process is an extremely honest process. So one needs to, my recommendation would be print out your bank statements, old-fashioned, take a highlighter and highlight your expenses off. Allocate them from your bank statement into your budget. And if you see that you're not allocating all of your expenses, you need to ask yourself the question, what have this 500 Rand that I drew at the ATM, what did I do with that? Because ultimately, lying to yourself is obviously not the best idea.
Something that I also find is that people tend to forget things in their budget, like bank charges, service fees, admin fees, and then they look and say, I don't know what went wrong, it's not budgeting, the income expenditure, I thought I'd have enough money and I don't.
Absolutely. So there's always these small little expenses that almost sneak up in you. It's a little cappuccino here, a little cappuccino there, a drink with a friend, a coffee, a lunch. And those are things that we enjoy as human beings. And, you certainly don't want, to do without that. So it's important that when you do your budget, that all of those things that you would like to maintain as a lifestyle, that you include it in your budget. Otherwise, taking on too much debt could basically just put you in a position where those little, more pleasant things in life you actually won't be able to actually afford. And furthermore, in terms of interest rates also, so one can do a budget that works under the current interest rate environment. We all know that Minister Nene and his team sits on a bi-monthly basis and determine what's going to happen to variable interest rates. So when they set the repo rate, when you budget, you need to make sure that your budget doesn't only work for the current interest rate, but if rates were to increase by 1%, 2%, 3%, heaven forbid, go back to 18.5%, 24% that we saw previously, you need to make sure that your budget also works under those conditions.
So it's important not to work out your budget to your last cent. And then I also think something that is very important in the budget is the contingency.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You really do need to set some money aside for a rainy day. You always have those little unexpected expenses, whether it's a car breaking on you, a bit of a family emergency, medical expenses, and even holidays. Those are all things that we do want to do. Have you ever seen someone make provision for a holiday in their budget? So it's really important. You don't want to have to borrow money to accommodate those kind of expenditures. So it's really important. When you set a budget, be open and honest for the lifestyle that you want to live. Make sure that you budget appropriately.
But you also find that the lifestyle that people want to live are not necessarily the lifestyle that they should be living.
Absolutely.
Is it not very often also the case where consumers should be taking into account that the change in lifestyle might better accommodate their repayments?
Absolutely. So that is something that's really important. One sometimes gets carried away in all of the latest, greatest toys and cars and trying to impress people. It's a very human thing, but living within your means is something that over the long run, if you want to not be financially dependent on the state and on your parents, that kind of thing, if you want to be financially free the day that you hang up your working boots, so to speak, you really need to have good financial disciplines all throughout your life. And that means just simply consuming less than what you earn. Save on a disciplined basis, whether it's contributions to annuities, pension funds, paying off your loans quicker, buying shares, getting active in on the investment thing. It takes a bit of oneself to do without those little luxuries or little, not necessities. One should clearly distinguish between wants and needs. We all want all of the latest, greatest branded clothing and that kind of thing. It's often things we can do without. And if we do have the discipline over the long run, we will certainly benefit from that from a financial perspective.
From an F&B perspective, do you find that you have consultants who are capable and willing to assist people with their budget, or is it something that a consumer has to do at home and then bring to you? Because often very many consumers do not know how to do a realistic budget. Would it be something that your consultants would be able to see to?
Ms. Frika, it's something I think that we can be a lot better at. So I think we do need to make tools available to customers for experimentation. So on a website, we do have some tools and calculators available on the F&B website where customers can do their budgeting, can stress test their repayments and change the interest rate, see what the repayments would do if interest rate increases. So we've already developed some self-help tools for customers to help themselves. I think we can possibly do a little more to help our customers on a daily basis through our branch staff to actually help them to this is quite a daunting thing, this budgeting and financial things. We've got a lot of value that we can add from a bank perspective in that.